It's New Year's Day and our sixth wedding anniversary. For the first time, our family of four is visiting my husband Kevin's parents. It all started with just one word from Kevin. I want to settle things. I want you to come with me. Kevin, who usually wears a smile, had an unusually serious expression, likely due to nervousness. Of course, let's handle it properly, I said, consciously putting on a smile to help Kevin relax. Seeing me like that, Kevin smiled gently. Kevin's nervousness about returning to his hometown stemmed from the fact that this wouldn't be the usual Christmas scene. Normally, we would exchange Christmas gifts, our children would receive many presents, and as a couple, we would give many gifts to our relatives' children. But we knew that this year would be different because of Kevin's parents. It was evident that they were treating us terribly, and such mistreatment would likely be directed not only at us, but also at our two children. Thinking about it made my heart ache. Even so, someday we would have to face this situation. In that case, I decided to follow Kevin's lead. Kevin and I work as construction workers for the same company. I joined the company after graduating from middle school because I wanted to lessen the burden on my mom, who raised me and my two siblings by herself. Since I was in the 4th grade, I knew I wanted to help her as soon as possible. Even though girls don't usually work in the field, my mom, who I thought only worked as an office worker at the civil engineering company, was surprised when she learned I would be working as a laborer. She widened her eyes and said, "Sitting still at a desk and working is impossible for me. Going outside is much more enjoyable." Despite her concerns, I argued with the CEO about working in the field because the salary was good. My mom knew that once I made up my mind, I wouldn't listen to anyone, so she didn't say anything more. On my first day at the company, when I was called by the site supervisor and stood in front of the workers, everyone was taken aback. It's not every day you see a girl fresh out of middle school working alongside burly men. Sensing the atmosphere, I said, "My name is Mary. Feel free to train me rigorously. No need for any special treatment." Everyone had a bewildered expression on their faces, like pigeons that had just eaten a pea shooter. It was a moment of realization for me. One man let out an incredibly loud shout, "Kevin, you've only been here for a month, so you shouldn't be saying that then." The room filled with laughter, and it became the signal to start the day's work. Although I had asked not to be treated specially, all the workers were kind and helped me get used to the work quickly. One person who especially looked out for me was Kevin, who had raised his voice on my first day, saying, "Leave it to me." Kevin, who is 3 years older than me, served as the site's mood maker. During busy times when tensions ran high, he always helped lighten the mood. He patiently taught me the basics of the job and always lent a hand during physically demanding tasks. I gradually found myself drawn to Kevin, who never neglected the people around him and always showed consideration. About half a year into my job, one day Kevin was tasked with moving materials, and I ended up riding in the same vehicle with him. I had started to become curious about Kevin and felt excited throughout the entire car ride, unable to say anything. An awkward atmosphere filled the car. "Why did you join this company, Kevin?" Feeling the need to say something, I asked a trivial question. At that moment, Kevin decided to share something personal. "I wanted to become free sooner, you know." I was taken aback by the sudden heavy statement. "I'm sorry," I said, thinking I had asked something I shouldn't have. Kevin quickly returned to his usual cheerful self and said, "Mary, there's no reason for you to have such a gloomy expression. I'm confident that my judgment was correct." Hearing those words, I felt a deep admiration for Kevin. In the next moment, my true feelings slipped out. "Would you like to go out with me?" I didn't even know why those words came out of my mouth. Suddenly feeling embarrassed, I looked down. "Nice to see you," Kevin said when the car stopped at a red light. I lifted my head and looked at Kevin. He directed a kind gaze towards me. Shortly after we started dating, I learned the meaning of what Kevin had said in the car on the day of the material delivery. When he mentioned wanting to be free as soon as possible, I discovered that Kevin had a 2-year age difference with his brother Sam. Sam had been academically excellent since childhood with outstanding school grades. On the other hand, Kevin didn't have good grades, although they were still above average. But his parents didn't accept that. Kevin explained that he always felt uncomfortable being compared to Sam. That alone was difficult enough. But Kevin's parents poured all their love into Sam. Sam went to one of the top public middle schools in the county, while Kevin attended the local public middle school. During that time, all of their parents' attention seemed to be focused on Sam, leaving Kevin without any communication or support. When Kevin entered high school, he began thinking about moving away from his parents once he graduated. The day after his high school graduation, Kevin left home without revealing his destination. "I'm leaving this house starting tomorrow," Kevin said during dinner. His mother simply replied, "Is that so?" while his father remained silent. Sam, Kevin's brother, wasn't there because he had entered an extremely competitive public university. "We got married when I was 20 and Kevin was 24. We invited my family, colleagues from work, and close friends to the wedding. At Kevin's request, we didn't inform his family. I want to be genuinely blessed from the bottom of my heart," Kevin had said, and I understood that it was his true feeling, not just a show of strength. So I didn't argue. The following year, our first son Jack was born, and in the third year of our marriage, our daughter Sarah was born. We were never wealthy, but being part of a smiling family made me happy. As far as I knew, Kevin was not in contact with his family at all. However, Kevin said that he would return to his parents' house next New Year. "Just be yourself," he said, but I knew it wouldn't be easy to act normally. I wondered what kind of expression I'd see from Kevin's parents and how Kevin would interact with them and Sam. Would he have to endure painful experiences like he did in high school again? I spent anxious days thinking about various things until we went back to his hometown. For Kevin, it had been 6 years since he last visited his home. Waiting to greet us were 2 children. "Mom, Dad, who are these people?" the older boy asked before running into the house. After a while, a woman with a neat appearance, around 50 years old with long hair, appeared. This was likely Kevin's mother. "Long time no see," Kevin greeted her. "It's been a while," she responded coldly. Her attitude made it clear that we were not welcomed. In the living room, Kevin's father and Sam's spouse were there. The conversation flowed fairly well, but it revolved around matters related to Sam, who worked at a city bank, his children's extracurricular activities, and their upcoming exams. It was a clear attempt to provoke us. Our 2 kids stuck close to my side, sensing the tension. Kevin's mother reappeared in the living room with a cheerful smile and handed a small envelope to Sam's children. Their faces lit up with joy, showing how much she doted on them. Then she turned her gaze towards us and said, "We will not give any New Year's gift to the children of a high school dropout's wife." Her words stung deeply. I clenched my fist firmly on my thigh, enduring it. Kevin had told me to endure whatever they said, and I was determined to follow his advice. My 2 children were also enduring in the same way. There was a brief moment of silence. Then Kevin spoke, "It's not a big deal. Meeting with you guys for the last time this year. We won't see each other again after this." His words were heavy, yet he spoke in a bright tone. They must have been surprised by Kevin's reaction. I had never expected this reaction. Kevin's parents and Sam just said, "Huh," and then froze. "Mary, is it about time for the CEO to arrive?" Kevin asked me. The clock read almost 5 minutes to 11. "Yeah, that's right. They said they'd arrive around 11, I replied. During our conversation, Kevin's parents listened with blank expressions. Around 11:10, the doorbell rang. Kevin's mother answered it, and a voice said, "I'm Smith." With a curious expression, Kevin's mother headed towards the entrance. When she came back, she had a complex expression. Behind her was the CEO of our company, standing with a calm demeanor. "I'm sorry for the unexpected visit during the New Year holiday," the CEO began. "Kevin from my family said today would be a good day to talk." Kevin's parents and Sam had expressions of confusion. "Mr. Smith, we finished our discussion. I'll take on the matter of adoption," Kevin spoke clearly, ensuring his parents and Sam understood. The sudden mention of adoption left Kevin's parents even more taken aback. "Did you really explain the situation properly? You have a habit of making judgments based on your own assumptions from time to time," the CEO said, demonstrating his understanding of Kevin's personality. "My parents have been talking as if we weren't there at all. Their attitude clearly indicates how they feel about us," Kevin said. The CEO turned to Kevin's parents, straightened his posture, and said, "I am considering adopting Kevin, and I have his consent for it. However, I believe it's essential to have a proper discussion with both of you. That's why I came to pay my respects today." While the CEO explained, Kevin's parents and Sam remained silent. They probably couldn't say anything because they were hearing about how great a person Kevin is and how dedicated he is in everything he does. The CEO had broached the topic of adoption about 6 months ago. He and his wife didn't have any children and wanted Kevin to eventually take over the company. "I'm not cut out for that," Kevin initially declined, But the CEO smiled and said, "Can you really say something like that? Everyone except you supported the idea of adopting Kevin into the family." Upon hearing those words, Kevin broke down in tears. When I realized how many people truly saw and accepted him, I felt incredibly blessed. When the CEO told me about Kevin's adoption proposal, Kevin, sitting next to me, explained it with a hint of embarrassment. Kevin gave us an experience as if he were our own child. He fulfilled the dream of walking down the aisle with a bride's hand I thought would never be mine, the CEO said, looking at me. He was probably referring to how he went with me to Kevin's place instead of my father at our wedding. Even after the CEO's explanation about the adoption, Kevin's parents said nothing. "Goodbye," Kevin said, likely a final farewell to his parents and Sam. "I beg your pardon," the CEO added. We got up and headed to the front door. For some reason, everyone saw us off. Kevin's parents and Sam both had faces like they couldn't accept reality, as if they had been caught by a fox. "Wow, that's a cool car," Sam's children exclaimed in amazement as they saw the CEO's car. Our family got into the car, and I rolled down the window to give a nod. Kevin's parents and Sam's group had blank, ashen faces. As the car started moving, Kevin said, "Dad, I'm counting on you from now on." "I'd appreciate you," I added. Then our two children, though a bit hesitant, spoke in clear voices, "Grandpa, I'm counting on you."